This is an Ellis Mowers and Mower small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's repair, we have another Tecumseh that's not very common around my area, nor was very common when they built them, just because the engines themselves were not the best. These are Tecumseh Vector engines. We're going to make one good one out of these two. I'm going to basically take the carburetor air filter assemblies off of this one and put them on that one because that one's missing it. I already have a rebuild kit here, so we're going to rebuild the carburetor as well. Let me show you around these machines and we'll get started working on them. Of the hundreds of push mowers I've had, I think these are number 3 and number 4 when it comes to Vector Tecumsehs. We'll probably put another engine on this one at some point, but this is the nicer one of the two. This is a Craftsman front drive self-propel 6.75 horsepower Vector Tecumseh. And again, it came with all these missing pieces. So that was my hang up on this machine, was that it was missing a bunch of pieces. I do need to put a cable back on this. I ended up robbing it for another machine, and I'm trying to remember what else I've done here. That's all I've done to it. It's just been sitting because I haven't had the parts for it, and it doesn't make sense to fix it. This is a 2000 model year 917377690 Craftsman, and again, it's in pretty good shape overall. This one luckily has everything that I need to make this one work again. Again, the deck is missing a wheel and the engine's significantly older, but we can take a bunch of parts off of this to make it work. So that's what we're gonna do. Again, this is a Murray, but it's got the Vector that comes on it. Again, these are so rare that I don't have like air filter covers and things along those lines that go with all of this, which is what I would need. And hopefully I've got everything that I need in order to get this going again. If I find that I can't get this one going again with this engine, because I'm looking at the air filter setup and the air filter looks a little bit different, then we will, I guess, fix this one. I'm not completely sure yet. So let me take off, what have we got? We've got kind of a bunch of brackets and stuff that it looks like I need to take off here in order to get everything off. I'll show you what I need to do, and then we'll continue on from there. So the only thing I've done so far is taken off a flathead to get the air filter cover off, and it's sitting over there. The air filter is a little bit oily. May have to get an air filter for it if I can even find one for these anymore. 2 1/4 inches, and it looks like 2 7/16 to get off. And I've already taken off the throttle and the bell cable. So that'll take that off. Oh, the whole stud's trying to come off. Hopefully this can take this plate off here. And now I'm going to try to take off, let's see, what else is holding this on? Oh, we got a third bolt in there. And it's a 3/8, I think. Yes, we can. We just got to disconnect the fuel line now. Is there any gas in this tank? There is none. Perfect. Okay. Kind of looks like somebody had just tried to refresh this one. And we got a breather. The breather's gone. So now we've got everything here. Ugh. So let's see if I can get this. Got to get this off somehow. So I'm going to try and get that bolt off of this air filter housing, and then next we'll take the carburetor off of that machine and put in a new kit for it. Alright, I've taken the fuel line off, and I've done the same thing to this one as the other one. This one looks like it has an auto throttle, which is good. So this allows me to get the carb off. I'm going to pull that out. Hopefully. Pull this arm out. Come on now. There we are. We got some sort of throttle governor spring set up back there too, which is good. Yeah. Alright. So now what I'd like to do is be able to find another cable that will work with this machine. Like I said, I don't need the throttle because we've got auto governor. If I look under there, I'll show you. You see a governor spring right. Where are you? Right there. So that's good. And we will get this carburetor on the bench, open her up, put a kit in it, put everything back together. Hopefully we have a runner. So I tried every option that I had in terms of these carburetors here and ended up opting. I didn't even realize that they made the full carburetor. The last time I bought a Tecumseh Vector carb rebuild kit, the only thing it came with was the whole bottom bowl. So this was nice. I actually found it on Hipa's website, so that was good. Support Hipa, they support me, and they got a bunch of stuff, including Vector Tecumseh carburetors. You used to not be able to find the whole carb a few years ago. So this is nice because everything I'm doing is still only running on starting fluid. So I've tried like 2 or 3 different bowls, but they're all leaking at this gasket in between the carburetor and the bowl. So it's just best, you know, for 20 bucks we're going to put this on and hopefully do what we need to do here. We have 2 1/4 inch, 2 7/16 to get the air filter cover off. One thing I had to do while I was here, because this was on a different machine, I had to use the air filter assembly from that Murray that y'all saw in the earlier videos. I had to cut a little bit out of this shroud in order for it to all fit like it's supposed to on here. So that's what we had to do there. Everything seemed like it was, you know, buttoning up, marrying up like it was supposed to, but just, you know, I don't think these carburetors are really good on these machines anyway, so it's not really surprising that nothing really worked. So I'll get all my tools ready. We'll just swap this out in one big clip here next. I've pinched the fuel line off. Next thing I'm going to do, take a 1/4 inch to this, just kind of get it out of the way for me. And then what I also have to do here is just pull this out, and that gives me a little bit better access. I'm going to take a 7/16. I've already replaced the primer bulb on this, and I don't think this carb kit actually comes with the primer bulb. I'll link primer bulbs in the description, as well as a carb kit for this. And should just slide out at this point. Yep, okay. So everything was paired up like it needed to be. It just didn't want to work right. So I'll pull. Oh, that's right. This is the setup. It's got the deep wells. That's going to be I think it's the 5/16. Yeah. We'll get those off. I've got my little bitty impacts, or my small impact in the car, because I'm about to do a mobile repair. And again, we're just going to take off all this. This is fairly easy to do, all things considered. It's just doing it. In a way, this is easier to do than the regular Tecumseh stuff. So we'll put everything on here in just a second. So I've put the carb back on. All I had to do was, I'll show y'all real quick. So you just take these bolts and just kind of push them through, put the new gasket on one end, and then just take your linkage and curl it over like that, and that gets you where you need to be. And then we can just put these back in. Sits on here very well. So now the gasket, this gasket has a couple holes in it, and it slides over the top of these bolts on here. Now what I do after that is we're going to slide this air filter back on. There's a breather tube that goes on that air filter. And I'm going to put the two nuts on. That is the one thing about these Vectors, is that the carb replacements are insanely easy for what they are. Of course, I lost the second nut. Alright, so we'll just put that on. I'll grab a socket and a ratchet so that we don't over tighten them with that bigger impact. Alright, so we'll tighten this up. We'll see if this works. I don't even know. And then again, just put the fuel line on. If you got a fuel line clamp that goes on your fuel line as well, just put that on. We're going to put this back on as well. Oops. Forgot we got to put it through the top slot there first. Now we'll put it on. 2 1/4 inch screws. I don't know, the question is, should we go all the way with the air filter too? I might, because sometimes these things won't start without air filters, depending on some types of engines. Just ready to hear this thing run again. Then we'll work on the self-propel. It's just a product because it sat outside for a while. Just didn't have room in the end for it, if you know what I mean. I needed an air filter for it too, so this is nice that it came with an air filter, because this one is just oil soaked. And air filter and pre-filter, and if you actually needed it, it came with a spark plug, and it also came with this, which is the backing plate, but this is not a throttle. This is a newer Vector Tecumseh. It doesn't have the throttle position on it down here in the bottom. It's actually got a spring on that plate for an auto throttle, which this one doesn't have. That's why I didn't change the backing plate out. So I'll get it down and we'll prime it, and I'll try it without the air filter first. And I think hopefully it'll run this time. Let me see if it's priming. I can hear the primer bulb, so that's a good thing. Oh, what do y'all think? You think it'll run for us? Hopefully so. I hear it priming, so that's good. That's awesome. That works out great, actually. Just got some oil to burn off. I'll let it run. I'll put the air filter on it and let it run for a little bit here. Next thing we're going to have to do is figure out why the self-propel isn't working. Once we figure that out, then we get that working. I think we're going to be okay. The deck does have a little bit of flex to it. That's where you're hearing that metal on metal sound. The blade's actually kind of touching up on the top of the deck a little bit because of the flex of the deck. So that's a little unfortunate, but hopefully, you know, either way, it's going to be a $120 mower if I can find some find a bag for it. But really though, better than no dollars, right? Don't have any money. Well, I have 20 bucks in it, so if I make 100 off of it, we're doing pretty good. Let me see if I can get the self-propel going. So I'm in the process of working on the self-propel. What I have done, I took the hubcaps off, 9/16 to get the wheel off, an E-clip, and I think that's it to get the sprocket off. And then I took the little wheel holder piece off. I thought I had a stuck self-propel. It ended up being a bad cable. So I was able to source a new cable here that I had in my stash that I'm now going to go ahead and put on. And hopefully this will cure all the self-propel issues. And we'll have a good running mower here that has self-propel here in just a second. So we'll put the spring through there, through the clip right there on the end for a closer look. And then all I've got to do now is put this piece in. Actually, I'm just going to have to zip tie it because this is a little bit different. But I just have to put, let's see where the new cable is, right here. Run it up here and just bolt it up to the top, like so. This is one of those to where you have the handle, where you pull the handle back and then you push the lever forward to engage it, and then you lift the handle back a little bit in order to disengage it. So that's the way this one works. Maybe I can show you real quick. Most of y'all are familiar with these setups. They don't make them anymore though. So you pull the handle back. Let's do it this way. You push this forward and it engages. Well, it should engage. There we are. Then you lift it back up and it releases. I just had it too far out. So that's how this works. I will get it all assembled. And before I put the little cover back on, which again was just a 5/16 inch bolt or screw and a little clip thing to slide right off. So we'll do that and see what we got. Nearing the end of finishing everything up here, I put, like I said, the cable and everything is on. I just have to cut the old cable off because unfortunately it froze up. I want to show you how to put everything back on here because something caught me off guard. It might catch you off guard. So I just slid on this piece here for the wheel, a little plastic backing portion. And then you put the washer in. One thing that I noticed on these particular ones that have kind of the D-shaped sprocket is that there's a little item behind, I guess it's just like a little washer or collar behind there, and that slot needs to be lined up with the flat portion of this wheel. Because I was having difficulty getting the E-clip on, and now we can get that E-clip on with ease. So, because I wasn't able to get it on because it was too far out from where it needed to be, and I couldn't force it in and slide it in. Now I can get it in nice and easy. We have free rolling front wheels with the self-propel off, which is the goal. And now what I can do, put the wheel back on. Okay, and take the 9/16, put it back on as well, and the hubcap. I think we're basically an oil change away from finishing this up. One other thing I wanted to mention is, because I use that older air filter setup from that Murray mower, this particular one had a different air filter setup, but I didn't have all the pieces for it. So I used the old style air filter setup on this newer style machine. I had to cut a good chunk of the shroud off right here. It doesn't look the best, but it doesn't look crazy out of place, and the air filter works like it's supposed to. So again, just making what you have work around here. That Murray mower probably would have ran again, but this is going to be a much nicer machine, even though it ain't going to be the prettiest in the world. It will fetch a lot more money, at least twice of what that Murray would have fetched if I'd have fixed that Vector Tecumseh engine. I'd rather have fixed this one since it's self-propel. So I'll put everything down. We'll get everything set up. We're going to test the self-propel out. I'm going to actually turn the mower on its side and look at it real quick. See if we can figure out why those wheels weren't turning when they were supposed to be just a few minutes ago when the self-propel was locked in place. Found our problem. It's going to be this belt slipped its way above the main drive pulley. Oh, I just broke the belt. Be finding a new belt, I suppose, on this machine. So luckily I've got plenty of these around. But yeah, all it should be is right there. But now that I've broke the belt, we're gonna put a belt on it. Oh, let me see if I can slip it off of here without having to, so that I can get a decent idea of the size of the belt. It's actually kind of unfortunate there. I should have plenty of these belts, so let me go find one and we'll put one on. It's like one thing leads to another on this thing, but we'll get it. I found a belt in my stash, luckily. I put it on the back pulley, and now I'm going to take this front pulley, push it down as far as I can, and wiggle the belt over it. Alright, we should have working self-propel now. The one unfortunate thing I had to do is because this right here wouldn't come off, is I had to cut the little piece that protects the belt, so I may be able to get it back, keep it on, but might be a little bit of a task in order to make it work still. Let's see what we can do though. Let's see if I can make this work again, because it would be nice to still have that protection. But like I said, I had to cut it in order to get it off, because I couldn't get that main key, blade key off. Of course, because it needs to go in this first, I've got to do this. We'll see if I can get this back on. Hopefully I can, so that I at least have some protection for this self-propel belt. A little bit of transmission fluid does make quite a difference in the appearance of a machine, doesn't it? I gave it a good cleaning. This is never going to be like a showroom piece, but it does look significantly better. It is unfortunate that I had to go and take out some of the shroud in order for this air filter to fit, but the belt is now back on. I put this cover back on. I was able to put the underneath cover back on and get it to stay, so we're good there. And the self-propel is working, which I'll show you all now, and it is starting usually on the first pull if you give it a few primes. that's a good thing, right? We'll finish this video next. So there it is, guys. We've got a 99 model Craftsman with the 6.75 Vector Tecumseh back going again. Wish I was able to, you know, get one of the original carburetor gasket setups fixed, but just ordering a new carb for, I think it was like 20 bucks. Saves a lot of time, a lot of effort, and gets it running reliably for the next person that's going to own this. We got the self-propel working, got a belt back on the pulleys, had a cable, and put a new drive mechanism on it. Things working good. I would let everything run for maybe about 10 minutes or so just to make sure the belt didn't slip off or anything, and I think we're in good shape along that line. The belt, I didn't have an exact length belt from the one that broke. Had one just a little tad longer, so I had to do a couple of small modifications to make it work, but we made something that I had here work for this, which is great. So everything I had here except for the carburetor. So Mower was just sitting in the backyard for a couple years. Finally got tired of looking at it because I figured that it could have some promise to be a decent machine, and it is. It's not going to fetch a lot of money. It may fetch like $100 to $110. Probably list it for like $110 and take like $90 or $100 for it, and somebody will have a pretty decent serviced self-propel mower that has a new blade and a new carburetor on it, which in itself, if you paid retail for that, you're talking about $50 worth of parts right there. Obviously I have a little bit less in it than that, but hope y'all enjoyed this Vector Tecumseh. It's the second one I've ever fixed, I guess. I've had a couple of others that were just too far gone, but thank you again. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, found it informative. Thanks for the support as always. I'll catch you on the next one.